All right, let's get into the agenda. And it didn't land till 25 hours out from the round, but the formal schedule has arrived from the AFL as to how round 15 will unfold. And it's largely because that there are 5 of the 9 games that had to change slots. There's a lot of tinkering at the edges here and some a bit more dramatic than that. So this is how your round of footy is going to unfold. Is tomorrow night, there's a little quirk here.
What's the quirk?
You watch when the bounce happens. It'll be 7:32, not 7:30.
Why is that?
Because it's going to go live into Brisbane in prime time, and home and away has to finish first.
We've got to finish home and away.
So it's a 7:30.
My God.
It's advertised as 7:30, but I've seen the internal documents and it says 7:32. So you just when they bounce it, get your iPhone out and just see what time it is. I bet it's 7:32. Anyway, that's the stuff that amuses me.
What is going on in home and away these days?
I'm not really sure about that.
Right.
Richmond and St Kilda. Now, Collingwood and Fremantle has become the afternoon game on Saturday, a little later than had been first anticipated. So 1:45, it's direct head-to-head with North Melbourne and Gold Coast. Port Adelaide and Sydney has come from the night fixture to be the twilight, 4:35 Eastern. So plenty of time to have the pre-match testing regime, to sit in the nets for hours on end and then to get out and beat the curfew at the end. And that means Essendon and Melbourne has the prime time Saturday night slot to itself.
Good.
And that's a beautiful game to have there. The Giants and Hawthorns at the MCG, as we knew yesterday. The West Coast and the Bulldogs, 3:20. Just chalk that down, 5:03, bit of going back and forward. And then Carlton and Adelaide's formally been moved forward the half hour to give the Crows a chance to fly home.
I don't like the Saturday 1:30 double up. 2 games on at the one time. I know that might not figure in the finals, both 4 of those teams, but God, there's a lot of interest in both those matches, mate. Both those matches.
On a crowd front, the announcements were made in Victoria today, so a 50% return of crowds, but a cap of 25,000. So Marvel comes up short of that, and obviously it shortchanges.
Are you happy with that?
Significantly, no.
How's all the abuse you got this morning on radio?
No.
I'm sitting home cheering.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Thinking, God, finally. What did they call you? A left-wing...
Oh, I was getting... Well, see, usually I get left-wing commie pinko.
And what
but
was
people
today?
have me on the other side, right-wing nutbag.
Right-wing nutbag. I went tick.
It was a very entertaining morning, I must say.
I was loving it. I was going to ring up and say, Mark from Warrandyte.
This was the acting Premier of Victoria, James Molina.
I'm also very pleased to announce that we'll be able to get crowds back to our biggest events. In the interest of providing more certainty wherever we can, the public health team have approved steps for the next 2 weeks. So from 11:59pm tomorrow night, outdoor stadiums can have 50% of the venue capacity, up to 25,000 people. This means that the A-League Grand Final can proceed with 15,000 people and the MCG can host 25,000 people. From the following week, commencing 11:59pm on the 1st of July and subject to public health advice, indoor and outdoor stadiums will be able to increase to 85% capacity. So that includes the MCG, Marvel Stadium and Amy Park.
So up to 85% for round 16, which, as a matter of logic, makes this week's threshold low. It shortchanges Richmond, St Kilda, Melbourne and Essendon fans, and it shortchanges our Temple down the road. At Marvel, the roof will be open, Robbo, to be an outdoor stadium from here, and wouldn't you know it?
What's that?
Rain is forecast for both games. 90% chance of rain on Saturday afternoon and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday.
So do they close it or have to keep it open?
They have to keep it open.
Well, why?
Well, this is the demands of health authorities.
That's just why I don't get into COVID and all that sort of... It would do my head in if I had to really consider the inconsistencies around the world, around our communities. I'd be going spare. So I'm just pushing it away. What can I do and what can't I do? It's getting you down. I know it's getting to you with your commentary on radio.
I don't think we should be treated like lemmings, that's all.
Come on, you're right.
Fremantle,
the most... That's nut job, that's your new name.
The most interesting part of the AFL's release was the line that read, on arrival to Perth, Fremantle will commence a 14-day quarantine period with permissions to train and play in line with Western Australian government directions. Now, that reads worse than it's hoped it will be. There is a bit of punting on borders. So that will lapse the moment Western Australia lowers its border to Victoria. And that's slated to be next Wednesday, and there's a hope that it might be earlier. If things happen to go awry and that border doesn't come down, then Fremantle are facing 14 days locked up at home with only the provision to train and play, and then you can run your eye towards Carlton's travel there in round 16. We won't do that for the time being. Fremantle Justin Longmuir said today that they're hopeful that it's only a few days, but a little bit of punting, a bit of speculative punting on a border
that's not good to look forward to, is it? 14 days at home.
Yeah, with only the provision to train and play, but that's the gamble that's being taken.
Yep.
And Sydney, well, things did get considerably worse today with the spread of their cluster. I think it has everybody outside on tenterhooks, and our thoughts are with everybody in there at the moment. There are restrictions, but there are no lockdowns. The borders have been slammed shut from various states. Victoria shut down the 7 red zones as they were defined. So the Giants and the Swans got out really with only a couple of hours to spare. It was a canny move. It was the right move to get ahead of it, and it opens up the flexibility that wouldn't have been there tonight.
What were the numbers in Sydney today?
The cluster's up to 31, I think.
31, that's
solid. What you picked as to whether it was 8 or 13. The time frames are all sliding, but it's growing. It was a bigger number today than I think was being braced for.
You know what really disturbs me? Just before we go to Toby Green. Do you know that Sydney Stack was put in prison, Jared, in jail? And the 2 Victorians who jumped quarantine and drove through New South Wales into Queensland got a $4,000 fine. And Sydney Stack was put in jail. This country's a joke. That doesn't sit comfortably with me whatsoever.
You weren't going to get into the COVID stuff. That is quite the digression, and warrants a bit more than that. But that we're going to.
It's a disgrace for our country. That.